background concerning when we're discussing the Lejeune issue. You mentioned you're at the hospital, Naval Hospital?
My husband is former Navy corpsman.
Okay, so was that prior to 1983?
Yes.
Okay. And the reason why I bring this point up is part of our struggles that we have with VA and the government as far as what we're dealing with in Lejeune. You know, a lot of the studies Frank's talking about are occupational studies. They're done in the workplace. Those are people who go in, maybe receive a high dose while they're working, and then they go home to normal. I was conceived and born on the base. My family lived in Tarawa Terrace. We were exposed 24/7. I was exposed gestationally, and then in the formula bottle that my mom made, the baths that I got until we left the base, and also the water that drank. So we're dealing with an exposure that is different, so I call lifestyle exposure. So people were getting doses on a regular basis. The studies that they review don't really address that. That's the uniqueness of Camp Lejeune. Now going back to the Naval Hospital, to put things in perspective, in 1982, the emergency room sink at the Naval Hospital was tested for what was called then TTHMs, or trihalomethanes. It was a new chemical that they were looking out for. During the testing, there was an interference, and the scientist took it upon himself to run that interference and track it down, and it was trichloroethylene. The reading that the scientists had was 1,500 parts per billion, or 1,400 parts per billion of trichloroethylene in the emergency room sink hospital. Okay. The current regulatory limit today for that same chemical is 5. Now, it wasn't regulated at that point in time, that as far as specifically by name, but that shows you what we're dealing with. And you know, that is the struggle that we get back, and the pushback that we get from both industry, DOD, VA is, well, we didn't see results in the studies where animals and people were exposed at high levels, so therefore Camp Lejeune was exposed at lower levels. They shouldn't have any problems.
So I'm gonna take a prerogative here. Patricia, you want to come up now, Patricia Metzler? Yeah, because Patricia probably has something very relevant to what this question was, just so I keep some flow here.
Thank you.
So I thought this might be a good time for you to speak. Sorry to move right up the front of the line, sir.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you. My name is Patricia Patty Metzler. My father's David Metzler. He passed away in the midst of this whole process from neurobehavioral defects. He had a bizarre form of muscular dystrophy. He lost his hearing, sensory neural hearing loss. By the time he passed away, he had also developed heart failure, renal failure, and in 2000, reached a doctor at Ohio State Medical Center, did a muscle biopsy on him and found that he had degeneration clear down to the mitochondrial level of the cell. So the neuromuscular decline just continued over the course of the years, and he became crippled by the time he died. I did a lot of independent study. I'm a nurse practitioner in the state of Ohio, and finally got a hearing before a VA judge, and she granted, out of 6 different diagnoses, she granted service connection for all of them. So my reason for being here today is to let everybody know that I did win a neurobehavioral category. I have a flyer, and I'm willing to give it out to anybody here that wants it. I will stay after and answer questions, and I just want to help other people get through this process, because it was very grueling, and if I didn't have my medical background, I don't know that I could have done this. And for the lay people, this process was just, you know, at times I felt like I was in despair because of how bad, you know, I felt watching my father go through this, and just knowing all these other veterans that are out there. And the neurobehavioral, back in January a year ago, I went to this CAP meeting that was actually in Jacksonville. And at the time, they said statistically only 2% of the cases of neurobehavioral had been awarded service connection. And that, my heart sank, but that also gave me a lot more, I should say, or I just, it really fueled my fire to fight this even more. So if I can help anybody else, that's my goal in coming here. But I do have a question for the VA. I did speak to the panel yesterday about this, but I want to know if you do have any plan in place, or if you're working on anything or plan to do anything about how long it takes to get through this process. My dad applied in March of 2013. My appeal before the judge, he died in March of 2017. My appeal before the judge wasn't until October of 2017. I just now found out this January that we won the service connection. So we're looking at 5 years. And this was supposed to be, quote unquote, expedited because of advanced age. You know, my mother is hopefully going to benefit from all of this. But when we got the ruling, they said, well, she's advanced age too, so we'll expedite it. It might be another 3 to 6 months before we have a decision for you. So, you know, in your eyes, that's expedited. In ours, you know, he died waiting for this whole thing to happen.